first game. Best of luck to both teams. We'll see exactly how this goes. Once again, it is the Avalanche versus the Tritons for Gamma League. And we're going to see who comes out with the benefit. Like I said, I've seen ctnivlac a couple times during streams that I've done last season, and I think he played very well. But as you know, I mean, twos can be a couple of those ones plays, like you said, kind of have that one person carry a little bit, but the other person kind of help out. I think twos definitely is a lot of those plays, especially at this rank. You kind of expect everyone to be able to do anything they want. And as I say, that Ntri goes for a perfect flip reset goal on a one-on-one opportunity to give the Tritons the first lead of the series.
I like seeing Gamma League players being able to hit flip resets. That says a lot for their personal mechanic ability.
Oh yeah, 100%. And I mean, personally, me being Omega League, I'm trying to work on occasionally hitting the flip resets because it helps out. Being able to add that extra dynamic, that instant redirect of a ball, or adding that extra speed that nobody expects is really what changes it. And like you said, being able to see Gamma League players do that consistent is a great aspect to it. But at the same time, not every Gamma League player either needs to or has to or wants to. Because, I mean, it depends on your gameplay. Some people can hit a lot of other things. Some people don't need to. But, I mean, when you have a perfect opportunity like that, I think that was a great play by Ntri. And right now, Avalanche had a small opportunity, too much of a pinch coming from ParaDoxx. And Tritons getting a good offensive opportunity and actually capitalize on that. ctnivlac gets it sent a little fast with the Dominus flick and the demo. ParaDoxx doesn't get the touch he wants. Sets up CT to end up pounding it back in because a delayed spawn gives the Tritons a 2-0 lead.
Oh, you hate to see the demo right in front of net like that. It's hard to come back from the demo quickly and being able to get to net. They just didn't give them enough time to get back. You gotta capitalize, and they're right back at it.
Speaking of capitalization, I mean, there you go. ParaDoxx getting a perfect touch up. I think the Tritons totally forgot about Rocket that might be able to fly in from the opposite side and capitalize it to narrow the lead down to only 1 with 3.5 left.
See, I'm seeing a lot of good mechanics here. I know it's not the most important aspect of the game, but if you have good mechanics, it's a good base for any player to have. Some people get their mechanics on top first. Some people go for play reading and being able to manage position-wise. It's a good matchup so far. I'm liking what I'm seeing, for sure.
Yeah, and honestly, this is kind of what I was expecting. A little bit of here and there from both teams that I feel like it's going to be a fight back and forth, punch for punch. It's not going to... I don't think there's going to be one blowout this whole series. I honestly think we might even see one overtime game at least, because I think it's going to be that close. But like you said, I mean, those mechanics, it's funny because when I was watching a couple YouTube videos of a lot of popular YouTubers and everything, they were saying that plats can now hit ceiling shots, and even some gold. There's silvers that end up hitting wave dash kickoffs, and I'm like, what? Like back before it became free to play, this was like unheard of for those ranks to hit anything. But that's where also the rotation ends up being crucial. We'll see if those rotations come in and pass plays to see if something can end up capitalizing on instead of just trying to make those ones.
Yeah,
Trains come over it. God, sorry.
I know since I started playing Rocket League, I mean, I've been playing since season 1, and these kids are so much lower doing the same stuff that the high ranks used to be able to do. It's honestly crazy to see, some plats or some diamonds hitting flip resets alone are like mind-blowing to me.
Right. And I mean, that's, like I said, that's surprising. Like when you see people that are barely even able to, like gold, normally you used to not be able to get off the ground. Everything's just literally on the ground. And if you pop a ball, you see the awkward spinning. But then when you get up, now it's like flat is like expected for regular recovery. Crazy. But speaking of which, let's see if a minute 40 left. A crazy angle for Ntri to try to get it with a tire touch wasn't enough. but the Tritons are trying to keep it in. Ntri gets an unfortunate turn and doesn't allow for the Avalanche to capitalize on. That's even more unfortunate. The turn after trying to get the mid boost, I believe, and ParaDoxx just I think tried to pass it back and thought Raccoon was back, but fortunately wasn't back enough. I think he was just getting the corner boost and sent it back into goal. Gives him a little too much of a lead that might put the nail in the coffin, but we all know this is twos. Anything could happen at any time.
This is Raccoon. Anything can always happen.
Hey, I mean, you know, it's funny. This is my first game casting this season, and I'm kind of excited, obviously, because who knows what's going to happen. See, he says in the chat, pad my stats. He gets a perfect tuck across the way. But we'll see. With that being said, I mean, first game of the first time I'm casting, maybe we'll actually see a Brazil pop out. I mean, it's a 5-1. Who knows? The Tritons are definitely getting their opportunity. And
yeah,
looks like you're good.
We'll see who comes back after this. I mean, either Avalanche is going to keep going with the massive deficit that they find themselves in, or they're going to turn it around and, you know, make a series out of it, because right now they're just not keeping up with whatever the Tritons put down.
Yeah, I mean, and that's where that goal differential aspect, I mean, could have been just one bad week and the other one could have been dead even. But I mean, for this, it seems like I think that that one goal literally was ParaDoxx sending it off that left wall into the top right, or all the way up for Rocket Raccoon to get the pass. And I think that that's what we're going to need to see is a little bit more ball control coming from the Avalanche, because it just looks like the Tritons are getting the ball control and getting it around the defense consistently. So I think it's just a little bit of communication as well as just ball control.
See, it's surprising to see who's scoring all of these goals as well, because, I mean, it's not necessarily that one person usually carries more than the other in twos, even though, you know, you have the salary difference, but, you know, it's pretty much, let's see, we got Nivlac, you know, carrying with the goals right now. I mean, not carrying, but, you know, it's pretty even with Tritons. And then after
Right.
you have Rocket Raccoon that's had one goal so far, and Spiral really hasn't been able to do much except for, you know, put a shot up for his teammate and make a save. I mean, they've got to work together better on that, whether it's passing better or, you know, something, getting the ball out of their side.
Right. And the big thing is also, I mean, just for those of you that are watching that are a little bit newer, when it comes down with this, and you have these guys are a 14.5 salary, 14.50, which is champ 3 and higher, all the way up to I think just below SSL, because I believe SSL is 1,800. So a lot of people that are playing right now definitely know what they're doing. And I mean, the shot opportunities need to be presented, and the Tritons had 10 shots on goal with 6 goals, and the Avalanche had 6 shots on goal with only 1 goal. So I think that what the Avalanche need to do is they just need to try to capitalize on whatever opportunity may be presented, and try to maybe do the classic, like, go for the intentional double touch that you know is going to try to draw the defense out a little too much, you know? Like, try to draw it where it's going to be banging off the back wall or hit a post intentionally to mess up that defense to create those openings. But with this much momentum that the Tritons have built up thus far, I mean, it's going to be hard to come back. But then again, maybe it was just that first game. Maybe it was the first game together on that they had to build up their own chemistry between each other and then go from there. I've seen that plenty of times too. But I really hope the Avalanche kind of kick it up this game and really leave us scratching our heads. It's like, all right, well, it's a 1-1 series. What's going to happen last 2 games?
I like to see that Ntri has like pretty much equal stats to Nivlac. I mean, you see that he's a 14.5 and Nivlac's a 16, but you really wouldn't tell by looking at the scoreboard. I mean, they're pretty much equal with each other from the first game. It's good to see that that's a good combination working out.
Yeah, I mean, with that being said, I mean, CT didn't do anything fancy, but Ntri went crazy hard on the air rolls. Just barely got over enough of Rocket Raccoon and tucked it in for the first goal of the second game of a best of four. Um, yeah, I mean, right now, I mean, looking at their stats too, ParaDoxx on his stats right now has 6 goals and 10 saves from last week's. And Rocket, I believe, had 5 goals and 6 saves, but they had a total of 6 assists between the two of them. CT actually had 7 assists. So I mean, that's obviously you can definitely see that. I think I see ParaDoxx AFK for a second.
Yeah, we might need to check and see if he's all right over there.
Now, if I recall correctly, too, unfortunately, since a goal has been scored, that you can't ask for server reset. I believe since the game has started to be played, it's an unfortunate turn of events for Avalanche. But this is where you just need to play very conservative if you're Rocket Raccoon.
Oh, if I saw correctly, I think there's some movement back there. I don't know if that was just rocking in the corner of my screen. Oh no, he's still not moving. You hate to see it, but it does happen occasionally. You know, I had that happen in my own league match for another league, and you know, if you're good enough, you can just come back, and if not, you know, take it like a champ and move on. I mean, it doesn't really reflect your personal ability. You know, lag,
Right.
connection happens. You know.
Well, I see he's back moving again, which is good. And honestly, I saw ctnivlac put in the chat, do y'all want a remake? So I'm glad he ended up asking that now, because now if they would like, they probably can do that. That after this game, we can end up doing one if they feel as though they might. So that's good to know. We'll keep you guys posted on that. But on another note, let's see if Avalanche has a little bit of a push. Unfortunately, Raccoon is low on boost. Ntri gets just enough of a send. I think ParaDoxx was hoping to end up getting through the defense. Ntri is denying him right.
You know, I think one thing I'm seeing a lot is that Avalanche just isn't in the right position to make plays on these shots. Like they're giving they're giving Tritons too much space on offense. Like they gotta settle up their defensive plan here. And then two, on their offense, when they're pushing the Tritons, their teammates aren't in the right spot to follow up the pass. It's kind of leaving opportunities wasted.
Yeah, I mean it definitely is, and especially at this level, you really cannot give players space to allow for any chance to try to go for any shots or air drags or like basically anything. You really need to try to cut off a lot of opportunity, because you give them space, a little too much space, you're going to give them too much time to create another opportunity. Just like the very first goal we saw was Ntri hitting the flip reset. And I mean, I'm not saying that was directly because of lack of pressure, but that's what can happen if there is a lack of. And we don't want to have that happen for Avalanche where they dig themselves too deep in a hole. But I mean, also like you said, positioning with that, but also the defense that has been played thus far has been phenomenal by the Tritons. Not allowing.
Yeah, there's just not very many holes in their armor. They're rotating very well, and that's one thing that Avalanche is lacking. I mean, they may be in the positions that they need to on defense, but when they go out of position, it takes them a while to get back into position.
Right. And I mean, with that also, like, I feel like it also goes into the whole communication. Like, do you feel comfortable with the communication as to what might be said or what's expected? So, like, I hope Rocket keeps this, but CT gave him no space to do anything. Gave the Tritons a good offensive opportunity they capitalized on with a good pass play from the corner.
Yeah, I want to say the Tritons are definitely communicating a lot better. I would It'd be interesting to hear each team's comms, but just from what I'm seeing, I would definitely say that the Tritons are communicating very well. You know, even just there off this simple goal. I mean, hey, take the shot. I have a better shot.
Right.
It's good to see your teammates communicate that well. You don't see it on some teams, and they suffer for it. You can definitely tell.
Right, and then there's some teams that you could like you said, you can definitely tell whether they're wanting to play as a team or they're just wanting to play a little more greedy. And you can. I'm not saying that any team is playing greedy right now, but I'm just saying in general, you can normally see that, and a lot of times that is what comes across our board is a little bit more greediness. But the Tritons overall, I think, are playing very good, wholesome Rocket League, and actually CT getting a good doink to set up for the 0-second goal.
Man, 5-0 this game. What was it? 5-1 last game. It's they're catching these leads. I don't think Avalanche is gonna have any room to come back. I think their morale is getting a little beaten up at the moment.
I see that there's a possible sub coming in because I believe ParaDoxx is having too much internet connection issues. So please bear with us for a few moments as we're waiting to see what exactly is going to come in, who's going to come in for him to replace him temporarily and everything.
It's funny we say the internet connection because I see Ntri right there is suffering with some high ping as well. Got 4.
From what I understood, I believe he actually is playing out of Saudi Arabia. So, so he consistently, like his lowest ping that I've played with him, his lowest ping I've ever seen was a steady 180. Like he might have hit like 150, maybe. But he actually plays out of Saudi Arabia. So his ping is always high. But that's what's funny because that ping being high, as long as there's no variation in it, I never see an kind of like if it's cold outside, but there's no wind, it's not cold outside. But once there's wind, it gets cold.
It's wild seeing people play at that high ping. I would not be able to handle, I can tell you that.
So actually looking at that, the Tritons just dominated the stat line thing. Obviously coming from a game like that, we have Mux that came in as a substitute in place of, I believe it was ParaDoxx. Yeah, in place of ParaDoxx. So hopefully we can end up getting some sort of communication change. And unfortunately, as I'm about to talk about the communication, this unfortunate bump happened.
Ends up causing defense, but when you've come in late in the match, he's probably all over the place at the moment. I'm sure his teammates trying to do his best to fill him in on what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, you come in the first game that, I mean, I hate to say it, but you gotta get the bad part out of the way. It's the best way to do it, Now hopefully it'll just be able to turn it around a little bit.
I'm interested to see if Avalanche will do better with this roster change. I mean, it doesn't seem like the Tritons are letting up at all. They're not going to show any mercy here. Becoming aggressive with the demos as well.
Oh yeah, I mean with that, I think CT actually got bumped out, and then CT was like, you know what, you're not carrying this ball because you don't have any boost anymore, so I'm going to demo you, take you completely out of the play, and give us an offensive opportunity. But hopefully, it kind of looked like there was a little bit of a double commit, and again a mini double commit. It looks like the Tritons might be going through a little bit of placement issues, I guess. Almost got a goal capitalized on that, but beautiful play by CT, getting a quick touch. Ntri ended up getting a good hit. Unfortunate Rocket, I think, thought it was going in, tried to get a super goal pinch, didn't get any touch on the ball. CT gets a perfect setup for the top upper 90 double.
That was nice to see. It was very well executed. Some people have trouble putting the ball in that top corner from so close to the post.
Ooh, unfortunate that Mux, I think, was low on boost, tried to get up fast for that pass that came over from Rocket, but ended up actually back. Good pass opportunity by Avalanche, but CT says no yet again. This defense getting easy clears. Oh my, like it's a brick wall. The Tritons are a brick wall on defense right now. They scored so far 13 goals in the past 2.5 games, and they've only allowed 1 goal against. It's just the Tritons, I think, are just playing great whole Rocket League right now, which is exactly what you hope to see at this level. I mean, you never want to have anybody at this level have unfortunate issues, like the connection issues that ParaDoxx had just before. But I just want to see that defense break for a quick minute and give the Avalanche some sort of momentum. Hey, I mean, it's the Avalanche, right? You got to have that little bit of the break of the surface tension to allow the Avalanche to flow. So hopefully we get that. But Ntri just wanted to take that from CT. I think he just sat in the center of goal after CT got it past the defense. Wanted to take that really bad.
Yeah, you know what's really interesting to see is that Mux isn't playing as well as you would think he's playing. Wolfie updated me that his salaries are 16, so I mean they're bringing in their big player to try to collect whatever's left of this series, but it's not seeming to work out. I mean, the Tritons really want that first win of the season.
Right, and I mean, the good thing is, I mean, it is a 4-game series. It goes, the whole playoff set goes based off of overall record of games, not based off of what this series, like if you won or lost the series or anything. Right. So even if the Avalanche end up coming out with an unfortunate loss here, yes, they lost that series thus far, but they can still try to catch that 4th game to try to save themselves that and also not dig themselves too deep in the goal differential aspect.
Yeah, it looks like Tritons are trying to make up for the deficit that they accrued from their first 2 weeks, and Avalanche wanted to do that as well, but I think we know what team wanted it more.
Yeah, I mean, like I've seen some kids, and beautiful play by Raccoon. I've seen some kids that decide to hop on and like before a match, so like we're gonna play 3 hours before and play nonstop, and then take a 10-minute break before or something. And then I've also seen people that hop on, play a game or two with their teammate, and then they're already flowing. Like it's weird. Like everybody has their own process. I mean, the Tritons just definitely came out eating their Wheaties this morning.
Yeah, I'm definitely one that's an advocate for not playing for hours on end before a match. One thing that's really draining with Rocket League is the mental aspect of it. People don't realize that you're thinking about all the plays, all of the touches, what you want to do at all times for every match. And if you're playing for hours before your match, your brain's going to be exhausted by the time you go to play at all. And you're already going to be behind the ball. I mean, I don't know what each of these teams did for warm-up, but, I mean, teams might want to try out what the Tritons are doing.
Yeah, I mean, that was a beautiful play. A little bit of a double commit, but I think that was actually a little calculated. It looked like that Rocket just faked CT just enough. Mux tossed it in a Rocket. And now, hey, I mean, 2 goals down, 43 seconds. I want to see this Avalanche take off. I mean, great plays so far. They scored 2 consecutive goals. Ntri's up, gets a good clear. But Rocket sends it back. Hopefully Mux can get there. CT is there already. This pressure, they've been having the ball sitting in the Avalanche end for so long that creates so many opportunities, and Ntri gets yet another goal from a double touch that CT ends up putting up.
That's what I always say is you gotta put offense down their throat as much as you can, and eventually you'll score. People can't play defense for the whole game without submitting a goal.
Exactly. I mean, the only exception I could say is that one time I had 10 shots on goal with no goals, but in one game. But that's a very few rare items, and I had the posts that definitely were playing for the other team and not me, because I had 3 crossbar hits, I think, and 2 or 3 post hits on that at least. So I mean, the crossbars went in our favor too, or their favor. But I mean, Avalanche kind of built up a little bit of momentum. CT is going down, really trying to kill this goal differential that they have in their system. because he even said that he's like, I need this for goal difference. Yeah, said that 0-second goal, and he hits another 0-second goal right now. So
definitely trying to pad the stats here. I mean, I don't blame him. You want to look as good as possible for the series or for the season.
I mean, yeah, especially like earlier, you want to be a force to be reckoned with. Especially, I mean, Tritons being so far down in the rankings right now, they don't want to have it come across as, you know what? Yeah, we're ranked. I believe it was 11th. Remember? Yes, they were ranked 11th out of 12 teams. They want to say, you know what? If we're ranked 11th, we don't care. We'll still hand it to any team that comes our way. And they're making sure that they are known.
I'm definitely excited to see what they do for the rest of the season. I mean, granted, they had mostly losses for the first 2 games, but it seems like right now they want to turn their season around before it gets too late to make a comeback.
Yeah, I mean, right there, you have looking at the stats. I'm checking out the stats in the stream right now, and it shows that CT and Ntri have both over a 7 of the rating, and unfortunately, the Avalanche didn't even have. They just barely had over a 7 combined. So, I mean, that's just the wholesomeness. But we did just have a sub come in. So we're trying to. I mean, they're trying to get their feet under them just as much. But we're going into the 4th game. 3 games towards Triton so far. If I remember, that's 17-3 goals. Their goal difference plus 14. Triton.
Go with game 4. Honestly, in my opinion, I really don't see Avalanche coming away with one. I mean, it just seems like the Tritons have such a dominant force with the series, and even with the substitution, it's just a morale thing. Even though Avalanche comes away with the first goal of the game.
Yeah, by the way, I don't know if you noticed, but there was a card by Ntri. He decided to change from the Fennec Oct. He was playing phenomenal with the Fennec. I guess he just decided to change a heart or something. And by the way, this is the first time that the Avalanche scored first in the series. All 3 times it was all the Tritons scoring first. But let's see if they can keep up this pressure. Like you said, you can't stay on defense forever, and we got to see the Avalanche step up out of nowhere. The CT actually messed up a little bit of Ntri, chased down by Avalanche. See if they can get something. Pass over to Mux by Rocket. Mux up for the double touch, but Ntri says no from the back. And Entri's just trying to play control, but ran out of boost and sent it right to Rocket. Rocket with a dribble, but CT sends it back, trying to get it out of their zone and try to get their own offensive opportunity. And an offensive opportunity was presented, but I believe Ntri got faked out a little bit and kind of stuttered for a split second out of the opportunity to capitalize on an open net that they had for a split second. And if you've played Rocket League before, then you definitely know that the split second at a high level play of Rocket League is literally the difference. And that split second just might have cost the Tritons their first goal to be able to be made this game. Beautiful play done. Like keeping this pressure. Mux, once again, you said flip reset earlier. Messed up CT because I think he wanted to shoot it directly, and Mux said,
I might have spoken too soon. I think, Avalanche decided that they want this game. Unless, there's still 3 minutes left in the match. I'm not saying anything's over, but, Avalanche has gotten their stuff together. I don't think they've ever had the lead in general for this whole series.
But beautiful play. See if Rocket can capitalize on this dribble. Gets a little bit of a fake on Ntri, but Ntri gets enough of a touch to send it over to the corner. I think Rocket wanted to get the demo on that. Tritons get it out of their zone, but unfortunately not enough control. And the Tritons actually pushing the offense right now.
They're missing some very important shots there. Tritons had the shot on net, but just banged it too high. Got too under the ball and missed that open net.
Oh no, offensive push got canceled out because Mux ended up accidentally hitting Rocket on the way back. I think they were trying to get the mid boost and messed up another offensive opportunity, but they do still manage to keep it inside of the Tritons' defensive zone. So, I mean, we're seeing a complete turnaround from what it just was. It was completely the Tritons nonstop keeping it in the Avalanche zone, and now it's the other way around. Avalanche definitely bringing the game to the Tritons. And the way I always say it is you got to play your game. You cannot play your other team's game. And now I'm seeing the Avalanche play their game, not the Tritons.
It's good to see that Avalanche actually is able to, make somewhat of a comeback. I mean, it was a pretty depressing sight there for Avalanche. They weren't able to take a game off thus far, but like I said, they've made a come around this game, and hopefully they'll be able to take one home for them.
Yeah, I mean, 3-0, a minute and a half left. Like I said, it's not completely lost. Sorry. I had someone keep trying to call me, and I don't know why. I told them I was even streaming, so I'm sorry. But CT ends up trying to capitalize, try to kill that goal differential that they built up so much. Gets a perfect drag all the way across, and gets it just past Rocket Raccoon, I believe, was the one over in the corner. Try to get the corner boost to try to get up for it, but couldn't get up fast enough. Closes the lead to 2 with just over a minute left. I mean, that's more than enough time for anybody in any rank to score 2 goals. Same time, it's just as much for the other team to score another 2. So, I mean, Avalanche, like you said, the big goal differential they built up, maybe they want to just try to kill that.
Yeah. I'm trying to see if Tritons even have it in them this game. They've given away a lot, gave up a free goal there trying to get it clear. But it doesn't seem like they're playing as well together this game. Making sloppy touches, not communicating, double commits. I don't know what happened in between the games, but something really messed with their heads.
Yeah, I mean, it could be that, or, I mean, it's kind of weird for me to say this, but maybe they're just like, not feel bad, but they're like, maybe we're not trying as hard this game, like, kind of pretend or play it off. But I mean, dude, it's a team. It doesn't matter who you're playing, who knows who you're going to be playing. You never want to let up. I hate to say it, but it's going off of what is it, Cobra Kai. Doesn't matter, while they're down, you still keep hitting them. So, I mean, that's what I would think with the Tritons, but we definitely, like I said, the Avalanche, I had the strongest feeling they were going to come back for the 4th game and catch that W, and they got the 4th game. So congratulations to Avalanche claiming that game. But overall, congratulations, Triton, getting a 3-1 on the series and making a goal differential be massively different from what they had. I think it was plus 14 coming into this game. So they got plus 11 from this. So that means I think they're only minus 4 now, which is crazy because last season I think there was a couple teams between the different leagues that it came down to the goal difference. For those of you that are watching and enjoying our stream right now, the goal differential literally ends up deciding if you have a tied record, the next thing they check is the goal differential. So having that goal differential being different is crucial, especially for those teams that may unfortunately be riding that bottom end up. So
yeah, I mean, in a league play, when goal differential is that important for playoff potential, I mean, you never want to let off the gas. I mean, I hate to be that person that that says just go hard all the time, but I mean, there's no mercy in league play. You got to keep scoring.